is Caesar. In this video, I'm more or less providing a recap of all three movies shoved into about 5 to 7 minutes. But majority of what I talk about revolves around the backbone of Caesar's story throughout Rise, Dawn, and War for the Planet of the Apes. Now before I get started, let it be known that major spoilers for Rise of the Planet of the Apes lie ahead. You have been warned. Caesar's story starts with his mother, Bright Eyes, who was captured in the jungle then used as an experiment for a drug known as the ALZ-112, which was supposed to be the cure for Alzheimer's. After some confusion, Caesar's mother is shot and killed, thinking that the drug eventually caused her to act aggressive. All apes they were studying on were put down with one exception. Bright Eyes was not acting aggressive but protective towards her newborn chimp, who was possibly a premature baby chimp because he was so small scientists didn't know Bright Eyes was pregnant with him when they first brought her in. To save little Caesar's life, Will Rodman, who was leading this experiment, sneaks Caesar out of the lab and takes him home. While showing his father, whom suffers from Alzheimer's, his new little friend, his father begins quoting Shakespeare, which is eventually how Caesar gets his name. After some time has passed, Will Rodman begins to realize that the drug ALZ-112 in his mother's system was passed on to Caesar, giving him increased intelligence. Caesar grows up to be the smartest of his kind while slowly realizing that perhaps he doesn't belong or has no place in this world. One day, as Will Rodman's father is having an Alzheimer's episode, I'm not sure if that's what you call it, he accidentally gets into a bit of a shuffle with their grumpy next-door neighbor. Caesar, witnessing one of his keepers being harassed, quickly jumps in to save the day. But in a simple act of compassion, Caesar's world is shattered. And because of the attack on this man, Caesar is taken from Will and his father and placed in a primate shelter. Caesar then not only begins to question his keeper Will's choices, but is also mistreated by the new people that take care of the apes, as well as picked on by the apes that he's now living with for being so different. Luckily, not all apes are bad, though. After befriending an orangutan by the name of Maurice, Caesar then comes up with a plan. First, he must gain the apes' respect. By releasing the only gorilla in the shelter, Caesar now has two friends, both who are the biggest of the bunch. After scaring the alpha ape, known as Rocket, and causing him to kneel to Caesar, Caesar then becomes the new alpha. Now Caesar must gain their trust. Caesar, using his smarts, steals the zookeeper's cookies, and begins to make Rocket, his new right-hand muscle, hand them out to all the apes, while providing the example that will stick through for the rest of the story. Apes alone are weak. Apes together, strong. After becoming the well-respected leader of the apes, Caesar comes to the conclusion that they will die in this prison-like place unless they all work together to get out. And the only way that's possible is for the other apes to be able to see and think the way Caesar does. So Caesar makes his escape and goes back home in search of the drug ALZ-112. After he has the drug, he then releases it on his fellow apes, giving them all increased intelligence just like himself. Caesar is perhaps more of a natural intelligent ape, for he was born into his gift, as to all the other apes it was more or less forced upon them. After that, Caesar and his apes devise a plan to conquer their keepers and escape their prison. A plan that leads Caesar to saying his first word, no. Upon escaping, Caesar leads the apes to where his mother was tested on along with other apes, and together they free them all. Adding characters such as Cornelia, who later goes on to become Caesar's wife, and Koba, who was possibly tested and experimented on more than any other ape. In a past experiment with Koba, it was eventually discovered that if the drug ALZ-112 is exposed to humans, it becomes a rapidly growing disease that eventually kills them, as well as a few other side effects we later learn about. Caesar then leads his apes across the Golden Gate Bridge, where the apes have their first standoff against the humans. After a fight and a few casualties, the apes eventually beat the humans and make their way to the Redwood Forest and to the place that Caesar first learned to be an ape. After saying his goodbyes to his adopted father, Will Rodman, Caesar is then finally home as ruler of the apes. If you want to know more about Caesar, then don't forget to go check out Who is Caesar? Dawn of the Planet of the Apes Explained. But until then, give the video a like and subscribe for future content. I'm Johnny Be Good with Johnny's Be Good Reviews, and let's hope the next movie will be good.